Hello and welcome. This is the third and last of this series of me deputizing for the wonderful and holy Rabbi Chapnik, who I'm sure will be back with you very soon in Los Angeles, and lucky you. So anyway, this week's Sedra is the Sedra of Chukat. And Chukat is famous because it has the great enigma, the commandment to make take a Pora Aduma, and it is sacrifice slaughtered. Then it's burnt, turned into ashes. The ashes are added to water, and it's used to purify people who have contact with a dead body. And the strange thing is that if you are the Kohen who is doing the process of purifying somebody who's had contact with a dead body, then you become impure as a consequence of this process. Not with the same severity of impurity that the guy who had contact with a dead body has, but nonetheless you become impure, affected. Negative energy flows to you. Whereas the fellow who's already impure, he becomes purified by this. And that's the enigma. And apparently, according to Rashi, the non-Jewish people of the world, who are not very well disposed towards the Jewish people, can you believe there is such things? Then they turn around and make fun of this mitzvah, of this commandment. They say, what a ridiculous idea! How can something that makes somebody who is impure pure make the pure person impure? And that's an extremely problematic attack. I'm sure you will agree. After all, what's the mystery here? Shlomo HaMelech, whom we believe to be the wisest man who ever lived, Shlomo HaMelech said, I just don't get this. I don't understand it. Well, you do. And I do. How many of us have known, God forbid, somebody who's had cancer, hopefully fully recovered and was cured from it, however, had to go through radiotherapy as part of the treatment. And radiotherapy, X-rays, for somebody who is healthy, exposed to X-rays, can cause cancer. Somebody who has cancer, exposed to X-rays, can cure you of cancer. So it's precisely the same phenomenon, and it's not just X-rays. Obviously, in the ancient world, X-rays were not available, but it's a phenomenon which we know through just taking medicines. A healthy person taking a medicine can make him sick, and it could be the same medicine that cures him. So this phenomenon is hardly a surprise. So why are they surprised about it? So I suppose we'd have to throw my hands into the air and say, if Shlomo Melech, the wisest man who ever existed, doesn't know the answer, then YY Rubinstein certainly doesn't know the answer. However, there is a concept of a statute, a law which you're given, which you will not be given an answer to. It's called a chok. The function of a mitzvah which has no rationale behind it, and many, I would argue most of the mitzvahs do have a rationale which you can understand. But if all the mitzvahs that we were given, if our relationship with God was defined by things that we would do in any case, 10 commandments, don't murder. Well, most people can work out that murder's a bad thing. Don't steal, ditto. Don't commit adultery, ditto. All the classic 10 commandment thing. Well, these are things that we can obviously work out for ourselves. Therefore, in keeping them and doing them, that doesn't connect you, it doesn't anchor you to God. But if you're given a mitzvah to do which makes absolutely no sense to you at all, and you still do it, then you're saying, well, I don't get it, but I kind of assume that God's cleverer than me. Consequently, I'm doing it because of him. I used to give the example of if one of my sons or daughters was going with a knitting needle towards an electricity socket, particularly in the UK where I used to live, where I think it's 240 volts or something. That's deadly. In the States, of course, it's 110, which is ouch, but very unlikely to kill you. And it's a metal knitting needle, and I see there they are other side of the room now. To now it's grandchildren, and if I'm really showing off, I've got a great grandchild as well. So I'm a fossil. But anyway, the other side of the room, there is one of my children or grandchildren, and they're just about to stick the knitting needle into the socket on the wall, and I say, son, and I can't reach them. There's no way I can get to them, and I shout, son, or granddaughter, stop! Now, the child doesn't understand about voltage. The child, 3 or 4, doesn't understand about wattage, accelerating current, decelerating current, earths, and all that stuff. But if he or she stops putting the knitting needle in the wall, in the socket, because her or his grandfather has told them to do so, it makes a very simple statement. I love and I trust my grandfather. I don't know why, but I'm not going to do it. When we do mitzvahs that make no rational sense to us, it's an opportunity. And I say the vast majority of mitzvahs are rational, and the reason is supplied. But if we are given no reason and we do the mitzvah still, it's a statement of subjecting yourself to an understanding which is beyond yours, a connecting thing between you and God. That's why there are mitzvahs which have no rationale, and the greatest example of all is the red heifer, the Parah Aduma. I have enjoyed popping into Los Angeles and further afield and standing up to Rabbi Chapnik. I hope you're all well. I hope things are going well for you in California. I'll give you every single bracha, and you should have a life of achievement. And I wish you all a good Shabbos. Until the next time.